Hello, everybody. It's This is Live Raw and Real. Sam Anderson with Drink Up. We're having some technical difficulty. I'm trying to get LinkedIn to work this morning, so I don't think it's working. It keeps on bouncing us off, unfortunately. So those of you that are possibly watching this or waiting for LinkedIn, I'm not sure what's happening this morning because Vance, it just literally bounced us off again. But welcome, Vance. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me on, Sam. It's gonna be
Yeah, it's
we're gonna have
been
some fun today.
Yeah, we should definitely have some fun. If I can get LinkedIn up, it'll be even better. But I'm not sure what's going on. And last night, my I didn't know if you were okay or not, but I'm glad you're okay. You're on a long haul flight.
I survived the flight. Yes, I knew I was going to sleep, so I just didn't bother upgrading to the internet on the flight. So my apologies for missing all your emails.
Oh, that's okay. My apologies too, because it just seems like when you're live and you're real in this, sometimes it doesn't go the way it's supposed to. So anyway, we're going to have a conversation this morning and learn a little bit about you. And what I'm fascinated about is your background. Maybe share a little bit about your journey and what you're doing nowadays and how you began and where you're at now.
Yeah, so I was a wee lad in a little log cabin back. Is that too far back? You probably don't want me
No,
going
that's
that far
fine.
back. Just kidding. So yeah, we'll start with the professional stuff. My first job really was at Disney. Spent a decade working for the Mouse down in Orlando. Kind of glad that was my first job because it really gave me a foundation for everything that I was going to do moving forward. People do leave Disney. I'm living proof of that. Um, I couldn't believe I'd spent 10 years there. I was starting to kind of get like hives or itchy or something. I had to believe there was something other than Orlando in the world. So took a couple of different restaurant consulting jobs. I was up in Boston for a little while with Legal Seafoods and Rainforest Cafe, a couple other concepts. Started to get the feeling that I make a lousy employee. Just don't like to be told what to do. It's probably why most of us are in business for ourselves. Um, After I used to say I got fired or that I got laid off, but I started owning up to it and said I got fired. By the way, if you are at a cocktail party and you don't want to talk to anybody and people come up and ask you, hey, what do you do? I just got fired last week. Scatter like cockroaches. They're gone. They leave you alone the rest of the night. Um, Social tip for you there. Um, so I fast forward to now. I've got 3 home service businesses here in Maryland that I still own. I've had them for about 17 years now. Um, and I also have a coaching and consulting business based off of all of my Disney experience and really focusing on the not only the customer experience, but the point where you've served the customer, you've sold them your widget, you've given them your service. Now, what do you do? And I really focus a lot on customer retention. And I think we've talked about this in the past. I mean, it is like ridiculously expensive to get a new customer in the front door. And then it is literally pennies on the dollar to keep them once you got them. I mean, they're just your past customers are the easiest people in the world to sell to. And just people just don't do it for some reason.
Man, so do you help people improve their customer experience and retention?
Both, yes. Yep. I am certainly not a leadership guru. I don't know the first thing about SEO or Google pay-per-click. Don't pretend to. But once those guys get you, your customer, and the customer's in the front door, that's kind of where I pick up. And whether it be an online experience or a in-store experience, then that's where I pick up. Really, that in-store experience or whatever it is, when you're selling your product, doing your service, that's setting up the customer retention, because if you don't execute well there, well, you don't have a fighting chance of keeping them. But if you execute greatly on the initial service, on the initial product, then you've got a really good chance of keeping those customers for life. If
Maybe I
you
lost a lot of customers today because I was late, and two, LinkedIn doesn't work this morning. So you can give me some coaching this morning.
No. I mean, technical. Well, see, this is it. This is why and I'm sure with your audience, you've created connections with them just by being you and by being real. And your audience is going to has a tendency to forgive you because you've had these past connections. It's the same thing in business. If I had created, if I had pitched myself as just a corporate company thing, nobody would give me a second chance. But people do business with people. They don't do business with businesses. You got to remember that. And so I like to think we create emotional connections with people so that when you do screw up, you do have a mistake, people are apt to forgive you.
I hope so. It's because it's been a very difficult morning this morning, so I'm going to have to ask forgiveness for everybody with the
If this
technical
is the worst of the
difficulties.
problems, Sam, we are in great shape.
Yeah, we'll get this out in a podcast following our conversation. So but anyway, Fred, a couple questions. Fred's asking, what part of Maryland do you live? If you're willing to share that.
Oh, yeah, sure. No, it's the wee little part of Maryland that is attached to Delaware. It's called the Eastern Shore.
Oh, that's awesome. And then Vance, I guess you just typed in Eastern Shore. Did you type that in?
Yeah, I did.
There you go.
That's
So
the
you're
extent of my multitasking. I'm a guy. I can really only do one thing at a time.
Yeah, and then Ryan started out with True. Usually we get a lot of comments off the LinkedIn stuff, but that's okay. Well, so talk to me about this Disney experience that you do or trip, because I want to get on it. Full transparency. So tell me about what you do. You take some executives or businesses and you actually go on a tour of Disney. You're next Disney executive.
Yeah. So, it's not just a big party. I came up with this a number of years. It's really weird how this whole idea gets born. And I'm going to take a little curve here, if you don't mind. I don't know how many of your listeners are in a mastermind. If you're not, I strongly suggest you find one. They go by different names, peer advisory groups. There's all sorts of different ones out there, Vistage, EO, the alternative board, things like that. But I was in a mastermind meeting and we were just all going around the table, saying what we did and who we used to do it for. And, I was talking about my Disney experience and everything. And then I was also talking a lot about my coaching and consulting. And one of the guys in the room said, you know what? I would pay you to take me and my group around Disney. Like, sweet, a business is born. So in 2013, that's when I started doing it. So you always got to have your ears open for opportunities, because that became like 50% of my income is now these Disney tours. So
You
I
get to go to
usually,
Disney. How many times a year do you go to Disney?
about three or four. So typically they are with another business coach or a business group. And so last year I had like 20 financial planners I took, and then there was a group of attorneys and then a group of home inspectors. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, because we're not trying to copy what Disney does. We're trying to adapt, because I'm going to guess that none of your listeners own a castle or have a roller coaster or a theme park. So it'd be silly to try to copy what Disney does. But we do want to try to adapt what Disney is doing into our industries, which is exactly what I've done in my carpet cleaning and my mold remediation companies. Is I've adapted what Disney does and figured out ways to implement it there. So the boot camps, I call them a boot camp. I hate the word retreat because it means like we're backing up, but are 3 days, sometimes 4, just depends on how much we want to get in depth. They are, we spend it at one of the premium resorts, so usually like the Grand Floridian or the Contemporary. Half of the day is spent in the classroom, so we'll be going over strategies, tactics, theories, how Disney does it. And we don't just focus on Disney. I mean, there's some incredible companies out there like Harley Davidson, like Apple, like Ritz-Carlton, that are all worth studying. I mean, even Chick-fil-A is a great example of, the customer experience. And these are at all different, economic points. So, we don't always have to be talking about Disney, but I got familiarity with it. So that's where we go. So we spend the morning going and building a little plan and learning about the different pieces. And in the afternoon, we go and we tour the parks looking for all of the stuff that we learned
Do you
about
get
in
to
the
ride
book.
rides by chance? Do they get
Oh,
to take
yeah,
you
we
around?
ride rides. We do all sorts of experiential activities. One of them, I want them to experience a quintessential Disney experience. So the opening event, and I don't want to give too much of it away because a lot of it's supposed to be a surprise, but the opening event is a 9-course wine pairing dinner
Yeah, you told me about
outside with Cinderella Castle in the background, the sun setting behind you. It's a 2.5 hour event. It takes a while to get through 9 courses, and it's just over the top. I'm blown away every time we do it, and I've probably done 20 or 30 of them.
Now, do you get I don't know, you told me this. Do you get the VIP tour too? Do you get to the front of the line when you walk the park?
Yeah, well, that's the one thing that I can't do. So I contract with Disney. So we'll do the underground tour. And when we do that underground tour, we'll do 2 or 3 of the rides and they'll get us to the front.
Oh, that's amazing. So I've heard about the Disney Underground. It's a real thing.
It is actually, underground is the wrong term because if you think about Florida, you can't dig too far without hitting water. So the underground is really the first floor, and then they built the Magic Kingdom on top of it. So it's really not underground because if they went underground, they'd be in a swamp.
So you when you're going to Disney, they built it up,
Mhm.
the whole thing.
Yeah, so the ground level is literally all of they call it the utilidor. So all of the stuff that is underneath Magic Kingdom is all of the tunnels and cafeterias and stores and storerooms and everything. And then they built the Magic Kingdom on top of that tunnel system.
So that's some new news. I did not know that. By the way, so my partner, she probably see this later on because we're not live on LinkedIn, so it's stressing me out. Be quite frank, but we are live on other social media channels, everyone. But I would be remiss if I didn't say this. My dream is to take my family to Disney. So I grew up going to Disney, and I have 2 little granddaughters. So my partner Alicia Vargo knows this. I want to do the Disney World trip. So we probably should do it with you, Vance, because it seems like world class. So I have to
Somebody
uh,
just dropped the words write off in there, and it certainly is.
what Alicia? Can you expand what that means, or Vance? Help me understand.
Yeah, no, no, no. So you can bring, the event is all inclusive with the exception of your travel. And so you can bring up to 3 guests to stay in the room. So while you're in the meetings, your family can be out having fun and literally the whole thing's a tax write-off for you.
Oh, that's amazing. So it seems like Alicia, we're going to be joining Vance's seminar, and it would be invaluable, as Alicia says. And my friend Fred said he spent his college summers in OC.
Yeah. Ocean City, just down the road.
Oh, wow.
Just down the road. Yep. Yeah, I don't go out on the weekends. Fred will understand because there's only one highway to get to the beach and it's ugly on the weekends. So
Like you're
we
talking like
hibernate.
hours just to get to the beach, or what?
Oh, that's disgusting.
Well, that's when you have to make your Disney trip during the summers and then do the OC when no one's around, right?
Orlando is horrible in the summer.
So
Would not, well, I wouldn't do that to anybody.
when do you plan your trips?
Usually October through middle of November so that we don't get into the Christmas holidays because that's when the prices start to rise. And then January, February, the weather's perfect. The prices are reasonable. So those are the
Does your
dates that
whole
we look at.
package include like setting up the hotels and stuff like that too for
All
everybody?
in. Hotel, food, park tickets, my training.
All right, so I'll make sure that we get your information. So I was reading your profile this morning on LinkedIn. So you're an award-winning author as well.
Yes, I am.
So can you talk about some of your books that you've written and what they're about?
Sure. So my flagship book is Systematic Magic, 7 Magic Keys to Disneyfy Your Business. And so I've broken my system down. I kind of got a little cutesy with the book, Magic Keys, but it's really 7 steps to the entire process. They'll include, like attention to detail. Disney is fanatical about their attention to detail. why the place is so clean. The employees are trained. I mean, that little piece of paper is fluttering to the ground, and usually an employee has picked up that piece of paper before it ever hits the ground.
Amazing.
That's that massive attention to detail. And that actually started with Walt. He was known to throw away, like 20% of a movie because it wasn't drawn to his specifications. And this was before CGI and computer stuff. I mean, this was all hand-drawn cells which were weeks of work. If it wasn't done right, he tossed the whole thing and said, nope, go back and do it again.
Amazing.
So, attention to detail. And it's not just cleanliness and things like that, but there are certain details in everybody's business that are more important than maybe some other details. And you have to determine, okay, what is the detail that is going to give you the most bang for your buck? Like in my carpet cleaning business, one of the details that I insist on is that my guys, they're not allowed to smoke at work. Anywhere, the minute you clock in, you're done smoking. And then when you clock out at the end of the day, well, kill yourself all you want. Because the last thing you want to be doing is walking into somebody's house smelling like smoke. So you can't smoke in the van. You can't even stand outside the van and smoke because you still have that odor. And the other thing is you can't wear cologne. So the last thing you want is to walk into Mrs. Smith's house smelling like Marlboros and like you took a shower in Axe. That's just freaking nasty. People are sensitive to that stuff and it's disgusting. So I said, no, we're there to clean. We're there to make a healthier home. You walking in smelling like you rolled out of the gutter and just splashed some, $2 cologne on. That's not setting the stage for a premium service. Certainly not congruent with the message that we're there to create a healthy home. So no, you can't do it.
Wow. So how do you have time for a carpet business, writing books, doing the Disney business? And I want to make sure I understand all the businesses that you are involved in. You did this, like, what were you doing? Were you in Europe, I'm assuming, the last week or so?
Yeah, it's a couple of days. Yeah, I was over in the UK doing a presentation for a client. So, the home service businesses. So I'll give you the number one lesson, and actually the first lesson I got working at Disney. So I was hired in 1990, and I was hired to be on the opening team of the Yacht and Beach Club resorts, which are over by Epcot Center. And I walked into the training room, which was actually one of the ballrooms, and there were this is before computers. Well, before everybody had a computer, and we certainly didn't have the doodads we have in our hands. And there were just stacks and stacks of binders in this ballroom. And I'm like, geez, what is all this stuff? He goes, well, these are all the systems, processes, OJTs, and SOPs it takes to run a resort at Disney. And tells you, you want to learn how to change a bus tire? They got a system for it. You want how to carry a tray? They got a system for it. Disney runs on systems and processes. That's how they can consistently deliver the magic every single day. And I took that lesson for every job I ever had through all of my businesses. So when it came time to having my own business, I said, well, we are going to have systems and processes. Systems and processes for a business owner equals freedom. So if you can implement systems and processes and have those things running without you, that means you don't have to be there because the systems and processes are running. So as I mentioned, I've got 3 home service businesses. So I have a general manager now who just runs the systems and processes. I said, don't screw with anything. You might have a great idea. Fine. We'll talk about it, but don't go changing anything because this is a proven system for making money. Don't mess with it. And then we have our Friday meetings. I said, have you got an idea for, a new marketing idea or a new service idea? Great. We'll talk about it Friday. We'll flesh it out and then we can implement it if it makes sense, but don't change the system. And that has served me well for 17 years since I've had that business. So really those 3 businesses, as far as I'm concerned, are running on autopilot. All I got to do is cash checks and kiss babies.
So you have a carpet cleaning business. What are the other 2 businesses?
A Oriental rug washing facility and a mold remediation company.
Wow. and then then you have your your consulting business,
Yeah, coaching consulting business. Yeah.
coaching consulting business. Plus, you're writing books. Any more? Any new books coming out soon?
Yeah, I wrote one a couple of years ago called Tales from the Customer Service Crypt. So if you remember the old HBO show Tales from the Crypt, I kind of took a little play on that because I'll have fodder and ideas for books. I'll have volumes 1 through 20 for years. So I'll have volume 2 probably coming out in June.
Oh my gosh,
And
how
it's
do you
just
find
stories of really bad customer service and the lessons that you can learn from it and how to prevent them.
how do you find time to actually do that and write books?
One, I protect my time like nobody's. You would think I would have like Secret Service agents protecting my time. It's like the Secret Service protecting the president, although they don't always do a good job of it. What, too soon for that joke? Sorry. Whatever. But I protect my time. I don't take, there is not one day where I take a unscheduled inbound phone call. You can't call me without it being on my calendar scheduled. Can't do it.
Wow. So if I reached
I don't
now that I
allow it
have your
because
cell
I'm
phone
busy. I
number,
got stuff to do.
so I
You
have
know,
your cell phone number in my phone now, and my if you look at my LinkedIn profile, it says just pick up the phone. I may call you, but you're not going to answer.
I won't. I don't text. My kids hate it. His dad didn't answer my text. Well, I told you I don't text. What part of that don't you get us? And I said, don't call me. Now, my phone does allow my kids, it will allow my kids' calls to come through. So, in case, and I tell them, I mean, your arm better be like dangling by like one little shred of skin for you to call through. I don't want, yeah, can you go pick me up from the skin? No,
Yeah.
you better be like
See,
dying.
I roll differently, but I probably need to spend some time with you, Vance. But I got to schedule an appointment to do that, so you pick up the phone, and I'll definitely I'll
Yeah,
definitely do that because
this time is the same for everybody,
yeah,
and it is the only thing that we are all, doesn't matter where you are in life, what status you have, we are all granted the same amount of it. And how you choose to use it and how you choose to protect it. I had a friend of mine, they called them time vampires. You know, those people that always used to come into your office and say, hey, you got a sec?
oh my
Hey,
gosh,
you got a
yes.
sec? Whatever idiot came up with the open door policy obviously was never a manager that had to get anything done.
This is an
Seriously, it was
interesting
an HR
perspective.
cube
Yeah,
somewhere. Some
yeah,
HR dude thought it would be a great idea to have an open door policy. I'm like, how the hell does anybody get anything done?
yeah. That's an interesting conundrum for me personally because I love just being available and answering the phone, but what I've realized is that I do have to do better at managing my time. So perhaps I'll take you up on some of your coaching to learn
Right,
that.
but people are, I mean, I am prolific in my writing. I'm fast. I enjoy it. I mean, so whether I'm writing an email, a book, an article, a newsletter, whatever it is, um, it's like anything else. You just get better at it as you go. So I mean, I can write a 500-word article in 10 or 15 minutes. Boom, I'm done. But
So
yeah,
can
no,
you go back to it? Can you go back to this? FedEx is going to knock on my door, and my dogs are going to lose their mind in 2 seconds here. Can you just walk through how, like, what software you use to manage time?
software. I don't use software.
You
No
don't. You just
software. Have you heard of the Pomodoro effect?
no. Walk
So
me through that.
Pomodoro effect. This is it. This is my egg timer, literally.
Okay.
Okay. This is as technical as I get. I set it for 50 minutes. And I don't have any other alarms. There's no ringy dingy things that are going off in here. And for 50 minutes, I concentrate on the one thing that I need to be doing. And at the end of the 50 minutes, this thing goes ding. And I get up and I go and I check on the dog. I get another cup of coffee. But I have 50 focused minutes or whatever amount of time I deem, but 50
Okay.
focused minutes on just that task. if you could do 50 focused minutes on one thing, I mean, no email dingy ringy things, no alerts popping up on your screen, none of that stuff, you would be amazed at how much work you can get done in 50 minutes. And I
This
don't
is
have no software, because if I had software, then I'd be like, I mean, it'd be like squirrel, I'd be off and running. But it's real. It works. I don't know if you can hear it.
it's funny you say that, Alicia. Hello, Alicia. She said, "Yay,
See,
no
it even
software."
rings.
Yay, no software. It's so true. Just simplify. Just get focused on what needs to get done. And truly, I love picking up the phone and talking to people. But perhaps they should just book time on my calendar, and then that's when I'm going to be available. I thought it's probably great advice in this world, But I'm always willing to have that conversation when available. But you're right. There's so much time, and I'm starting to learn that you can run out of time really quick.
And some
You
people
gotta
think
manage.
I'm like an idiot or a jerk about it. And I'm like, no, I mean, because like if you go to my calendar, I have like certain calendars that have certain amounts of time associated with them. And so I meet a lot of people and do some networking, and I will give out the same calendar link pretty much to everybody. But there is a quiz at the beginning of the calendar. And there's like 3 questions. And if you answer the questions one way, you'll get sent to my 11-minute calendar. And if you answer the questions another way, you'll get sent to my 30-minute calendar. So I don't want to be talking to somebody who either can't help me, is not a good connection, is going to be, space cadet, woo woo, whatever. I don't want to talk to them for more than 11 minutes, and if they happen to be like decent, then I can always schedule another call with them. But I don't want to be stuck on a 30-minute call with somebody I don't want to be stuck on a 30-minute call with.
I
So
must
they
have passed it.
automatically
I
make it
must have
11
passed it.
minutes.
Vance, I must have passed the test because I got your time. So hopefully, I'm in. Am I in the in
No, we
crowd?
traded emails first. I think we were good.
Okay, good. So it's like, is this guy legit or whatever? Uh,
Yeah, no. No, you're good.
that is really resonating with me, and I'm sure my partner as well. There's so many people that are reaching out, and we truly do want to, connect with them. We truly want to help them in their journeys, right? Because what we represent is really, we have 2 whys from a business standpoint: is to help people find work, and to help brands find homes or do right by brands, right? And you can't do that by commenting and liking on LinkedIn or any other social media. You can only do that by having a conversation like this, right? Because now that I know you, Vance, I know what you offer is so incredibly important. You can show people I can manage 3 businesses, I can write books, and I can have my consulting business as well. But I do it because I manage my time appropriately.
Yeah.
Is that I'm sure there's more secrets that you could share here this morning, but that's one of your secrets, right?
I mean, it is, and it's not right for everyone. It works for me. Let's put it that way. I mean, typically end my workday at 3 in the afternoon because I'm the guy that cooks in the house. It's just kind of default. I enjoy cooking. It's great. It's fun. Nobody's died from it yet. So from 3 o'clock on, I'm either grocery shopping or I'm cooking.
Your partner
Um,
loves you for that.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we got it. We got an agreement. I cook, she cleans.
Oh,
So
you know what? Do you have to do dishes?
no, no, she cleans. Well, we got kids for that. Kids can do the
That's
dishes.
brilliant.
So
All right, so obviously one of the key things you do is you manage your time appropriately. You also qualify people that you talk to, in terms of, because time is valuable, right? And you do that you have a 30-minute and an hour kind of booking, but there's probably some pre-qualifying questions that you ask before they get on a call with you. And then based on that, you will either book the call or you won't book the call. Wow. That's
everybody will get a call. This just depends on how long the call will be. I don't want to be. I mean, I don't want to look like a butthead. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, that's true. It's funny. Some of my friends, it's a software called Relatable. Sorry, Alicia, you're probably listening. You'll hear this later, but it's another software. But one of the things they do is you do like a video, and then it goes in to say, okay, what is the purpose of our discussion or whatever, and it's very friendly, and it's not like we don't want to talk to one another. And like you, I'll talk to anybody, but it depends how long we talk, right? Obviously this doesn't include, like, we're all friends here and we want to connect to folks, but time is precious because we have clients, I know, that we have to serve, right? So if I'm taking all these phone calls over here and talking to all these people, I might be preparing my book, I might be running my 3 businesses, or I have a Disney trip happening in October, which I'm bringing my new friend Sam Anderson in, and he's expecting a great experience on Disney. We're going to do that. Hopefully, you'll have me after this, but hopefully, you'll have me and then Alicia Vargo. We'd love to be part of the journey with you. We'll bring. By the way, we'll bring the wine.
if Disney will allow it on property, sure thing.
Yeah, or it'll be a corkage fee, right? So, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll. There's definitely if you like libations, they're in your future. We have NA options too, THC, anything that floats your boat. We can definitely do. Can we go back in your life a little bit? So you were working in hospitality, obviously at Disney
25
too.
years. 25
Yeah.
years.
So from a beverage perspective, were you buying beverages too, or were you doing other things or everything?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I
okay.
was, actually, I was a nightclub manager at Pleasure Island at Disney for 3.5 years.
Oh, wow. So everything rolled up to your responsibility for that whole venue.
For that for the whole complex.
And then
So
who were the other outside of Disney? Who were the other companies you worked with?
Rainforest Cafe, Illegal Seafoods, Kennedy Center for Performing Arts in DC.
Okay.
I was a catering manager for the Smithsonian Museum System.
So can you?
So
So I'm a brand. I'm new to market, and I want to talk to someone like you. How does one? So one, how does one go about finding someone like you when you were like this buyer, responsible for these venues? Because I want to get my brand into the Kidney Center. I want to get my brand in Legal Seafood or Rainforest Cafe. What is the process to find someone like you? And two is, what do I need to bring to that meeting to actually get you to consider me for
yeah,
distribution?
I mean that's a great question. Every state's got their convoluted distribution rules and laws. Here in Maryland, there's certain distributors are allowed to carry Budweiser and certain distributors are allowed to carry Miller, and they can't do it vice versa. And the state controls the price of the beer, which is just ridiculous. So if they wanted to get to me, well, literally, if I was running a restaurant today and somebody wanted, we got a great Spanish Mexican restaurant here in town, and somebody wanted me to, do their tequila, they need to put on their best dog and pony show. Come in looking, sombreros, bring in the mariachi band. You can't just come in with a bottle of tequila in your bag, and plunk it down and, and ask my bartender for a lime and say, okay, here, try my tequila. No, you need to come in and say, this is my brand. This is the wow factor behind my brand. And come in like you really want to sell your crap to me.
So I really love where you're going. So we were just at WSWA this week. And thank you for all the wholesalers and partners and brands that met with my partner and I, Alicia. We had this epiphany, and maybe we've known it for a while, but we're sitting down with a relatively large distributor, and we showed him our book of brands that we represent, right? And some really cool brands. We're talking about like non-alcoholic brands like Remix, even hemp-based products like Hybridge Premium, actually with Belushi Farms involved, right? But you know what they said to us? Every one of them that we spoke to, I don't want any more brands. I'm all full. I'm heavy up on inventory. But then the discussion proceeded, said, what if I brought you a brand with a plan? In other words, if I could actually show you that when you bring this brand in, I'm just not bringing in, the bottle of tequila just to put on your desk. I'm actually going to bring you a plan. And the plan would include tastings. It would include feet on the street. It would include incentives. It would include samples, those things. And you know what every one of them said, Vance?
No, but hopefully they said something
I'm
smart.
interested. I'm interested. Now we're talking. You're bringing me a plan. So many brands show up to people like you, the buyer, right? And they expect, well, I have a product. It's really good tequila. It's additive free. It's non-diffuse. It's from the best, fields in Mexico, or this wine is single vineyard. I got news for you. The distributor doesn't care. That's the first gatekeeper in the 3-tier system. And once you get the buyer, he's going to look at you and say, I got 100 different brands in line to come talk to me. What is your point of difference for me to consider you? Where's your mariachi band to your point?
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is, have you heard of Civet Coffee?
No, I have not.
So Civet Coffee is, they feed the beans to a cat and the cat poops out the coffee beans. I'm not kidding. This is real. And then they wash them off or whatever.
There's a coffee with monkeys that does the same thing in Africa, I think.
And but it ends. And the stuff is like, I think it's like close to $100 an ounce, $150 an ounce for this Civet coffee.
Do you bring the coffee to the Disney event, by the way?
I do. No, I'm not even. No, I have no desire to try this.
And this is just tea here for everybody. I'm not doing this.
Yeah. So, but you these days you need a shtick, and you're right. It comes from the north side of the mountain, and the little pygmies have squished it in their little toes and all that, the story. Again, that's good, but you're right. How are you going to help me sell this stuff?
Yeah, it's
right,
funny.
The shelf is full.
Yeah, we were talking to, there's a couple of things. One is Courtney O'Brien was on the show. She's a marketer. I'd love to introduce you to Courtney. I think you guys would hit it off, actually. She's a brilliant person. Courtney, you just got to book time with Vance because he just doesn't pick up the phone. And that's okay, because I'm going to take a page out of Vance's book at some point here. I'll pick up the phone, but you have to have a plan to talk to you, right? But what she said is, one is, can the distributor repeat your message? Was one of the most powerful messages I've heard shared with me this year. Can the distributor repeat your message? And then another guy named Dave Morris, he wrote a book about distribution. But the one thing he says is, once you get distribution, the work begins. And now you're saying is, for me to consider you, I got to see the mariachi band. Because if I don't see the mariachi band, I'm not interested, because there's many people that are going to bring me the mariachi band from those customer experiences. So I'm going to move into experiences, because one of the things we talked about, you talk about experiences, right? So can you expand, like I know you do the Disney experience, but can you maybe give your key points you want to share with everybody about how you can take a brand or a service and turn it into this experience as you're walking through the park, what that looks like?
Yeah. So, to me, Disney has figured out a way to take boring, mundane things and turn them into experiences. So we all have boring, mundane things we have to do in our businesses just to make the darn thing run every day. Answer the phone, we got a waiting room or whatever. Disney's just figured out a way to make it exciting. So I'll give you an example for my carpet cleaning company. So one of the boring things we got to do is get in the front door, right? If we can't get in the house, we can't do our service. So we've created an experience completely scripted out, and it kind of goes like this. So we park in the street. We don't park in the driveway because, God forbid, we got an oil leak. Now I got something else I got to clean up, right? My tech gets out in a clean uniform because he carries extra uniforms with him in case he gets dirty on the job beforehand. He goes up to the front door. He's got a special mat with him, a little gift, and his tool bag. He lays down the special mat, which is just, our logoed mat, and then he knocks on the door. He doesn't ring the bell because friends knock, salespeople ring the bell. Takes a couple of steps back, and Mrs. McGillicuddy opens the door, and the technician will say, "Hi, my name's Josh. I'm here to create your healthy home. May I come in?" We don't just barge in. So Mrs. McGillicuddy will open the door for us. We come in and we will do an exaggeration of wiping our feet on the mat. I mean, really like show business wiping. And then we put little booties on our clean shoes and we'll go in the home. Then we give Mrs. McGillicuddy her gift. Now, when was the last time you had a home service professional come to your home, electrician, home inspector, carpet cleaner, whatever, hand you a gift before they did any work? I mean, I'm not talking like a tchotchke, like a chip clip or something. I'm talking like a box that's got stuff in it. That ever happened?
Because yesterday I had a service call for my my central vacuum, right? The two guys ring the doorbell. Maybe they were just standing out there, but I don't think they knocked because I didn't hear a knock, and my ringer doesn't ring, so I'm sure they were pressing something. And so anyway, I saw them out there. They come in, and they have their boots on, right? And I promise you this. I was thinking, are they going to walk in my house with the boots on? And they did. They didn't have like any booties on. It's like snowing outside. They walked down through my carpet. Didn't think anything of it. And there was no like mat or anything. No
Ridiculous.
booties on or whatever.
It's ridiculous.
And they fixed my central vac and they were very nice, but my experience started like kind of made me uncomfortable.
And the fact that that happened, would you look for another service provider that might like treat your home with some respect?
Yes, 100%. So that's a great example is that first impression. I show up at your door, I'm clean, I'm presentable, and then I'm being respectful of your home. And that's a great example of the customer experiences.
And here's the thing with the gift. The gift, I mean, it's nothing extravagant. It's a little blue box. It's got a bag of cookies, a bottle of spot remover, and a little note from me saying, thank you for allowing us into your home. Now, the gift starts a process called reciprocity. All right. I give something to you. You feel compelled to give something back to me. So when we go into our sales presentation, now you feel like, oh, crap, I kind of got to, the guy was nice. He gave me a gift. We saw a 26% increase in our mid-tier package when we implemented the gift.
I bet your referral business is through the roof too, by the way.
Yeah. See, I mean,
hey, you should talk to the carpet cleaning. They give you cookies when they show up. And your prices are competitive, I'm assuming?
No. Oh, no, my prices is through the roof. I'm 35% higher than anybody in my area.
Oh, that's
but
interesting.
Because I'm providing these experiences, nobody cares.
Interesting.
So, I mean, that's what providing experiences gives you is price elasticity. People don't even think about the price once they, do you think, I mean, you're going to spend a lot when you go to Disney, right? I mean, but you know what you're going to get and you kind of bite the bullet and you spend the money.
That's really interesting. So we talked about your service. Can you give an example of a brand that maybe you've coached? You don't have to name the brand, obviously, if you don't want to, but they've actually been able to build these experiences they learn from you, and maybe exactly what they did to do that for a particular brand. I'm assuming that you follow up with your clients.
Sure. I got a guy who runs service stations. He's got like 4 or 5 of them. He's independent, kind of like a Jiffy Lube, Quick Lube kind of thing. And he was tired of getting beat up on price, coupon clippers. Every time those guys, ran a new special, he had to run one that was a nickel cheaper. And, it was just wear and tear on the building, wear and tear on him. Profits weren't great because he was always, competing on price. And by the way, there is no competitive advantage to being second cheapest, right? I mean, none whatsoever.
So there's no competitive advantage to being second cheapest. So Alicia just said, don't live beneath your privileges when you have the best service on the market.
There you go. Exactly. Smart lady.
Yes. Well, you're going to meet her because we're going to set some type of experience. We're going to be going to Disney together soon.
Love it. So anyway, I don't remember how we got introduced, but he's like, look, this is just nuts. I can't continue to do this. I'm working my fingers to the bone and I'm not making a lot of money. And I said, all right, well, have you thought about raising your prices? And he looks at me like I got 3 heads. And I'm like, well, you could go and become a premium service. I mean, if you look at Ritz-Carlton versus Holiday Inn, they both got a bed, they both got a front desk, they both got pillows. Well, what separates Ritz-Carlton from Holiday Inn? I mean, they're identical. It's a commodity, right? It's the experience you get. And that's why you pay $600 a night at Ritz and $49 a night at Holiday Inn. So once I told him that, he's like, all right, well, what can we do? So I'll give you the quick story. We created an experience out of his oil change. So we designed his shops like remember like the 1950s, 60s service stations where the guys would come out and one guy would squeegee your windshield, the other one check your air and your tires. So that's what we did. We had these 4 guys would come out, little white shirts and bow ties and, the squeegee and the air tires. And one guy would open your door and he'd escort you in. And in the waiting room, there wasn't like 3-day-old stale coffee. There was actually a barista in there making your favorite coffee drink. And he had a whole bunch of these other little touches in there. But his prices were close to 45, 50% higher than all of his competitors. Now, when he did that, he saw less people, which is fine, but he was more profitable. So you can double your price, lose half of your customers, and still be more profitable.
Yeah, it's just an interesting, when I'm about to say, Alicia, you're probably listening, but we find that, our pricing is pretty consistent, but we find that the people that pay the least amount want the most of our time.
Yes, they do. And they're going to complain the most, and they'll be the first ones to raise their hand for a refund. They will be the first ones to complain and have you come back and do something again for them.
Yeah. So when you have a service or a product, that experience is really important, so people understand, the experiences, so that when they come in, they're like, okay, I'm getting my money's worth for this investment that I've made in you. That's a wonderful story. So this gentleman was able to raise his prices. Look, I'm not advocating everybody to raise their pricing by 45%, but it really comes down to time too, because he got a quality. Look, it cuts both ways, right? Clients are looking for a quality service, but that service people too, they're looking for quality clients. It does cut both ways, right? At the end of the day,
I don't want to work with jerks.
I'm sure Alicia's probably laughing right now. I keep on talking about her, but we don't work with assholes. We choose not, So I apologize for the cussing.
I'll tell you. So, and the minute it struck me, I had always had high prices when I first started out. I knew my cleaning businesses were going to be premium service, but the minute I went home and raised my prices 20%, and this was, no other reason. This was the reason. And this was back when actually I was still cleaning carpet. I drove up to a house. It was a single wide trailer, right? And I had to drive like the road. It was a dirt road and it kind of like ended. And I saw the mailbox and then there was like a little opening in the hedge that I could barely fit my van through. And as I got through, I saw a flagpole with a Confederate flag flying and a 3-legged dog was tied to it. And there were 400 women sitting on the front porch drinking moonshine. I can't make that scene up. I put the van in reverse and I got the hell out of there. Yes, sure, they deserve.
And this is when you went home and said, "I'm taking a 20% price increase."
Yes, I said
I put
it in reverse and got the hell out of there.
I'm not going to experience this. Oh my God.
I said, no, I'm not doing it. They deserve clean carpet, but they ain't getting it from me. Somebody else can go do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a lot for brands and services to think about. Hey, and we all are customers too. It's a lot for you to think about. Hey, look, I'm looking for a really good experience. The people that showed up my door without, the booties tied up or giving me that initial like interaction, it made me really uncomfortable. So me as a customer, I'm probably not going to go back, and I'd gladly pay 30% more for your carpet cleaning. Or maybe you have a central vac system, or I know you do the Oriental rugs, et cetera, or the motor remediation.
Yeah,
but you're right. That's
goal,
about.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's about, so you're retaining the people you want to retain, and you're getting customers that are searching for the experiences. Now, there are a lot of cheap people out there, and there are people looking for a deal. Look, I always look for a deal. I'm fully transparent. But you know what? You get what you pay for, man. You do. You get what you pay for. And, one of the things that we have a lot of people that'll show up at our door, and God bless them. We love them all. But this is one of my partner's lines is like, perhaps we're not the right stop for you right now, but we'll be here. And I've been an entrepreneur for 2 years, and we've had this company for a year. And between both of us, we have 80 years experience. But I love that line. Perhaps we're not the right stop for you now.
Right.
And we're happy to connect you up with someone that maybe can help you, but we'll be here when you're ready. And you know what's the most interesting thing about that is that 90% of the customers end up showing back up at the door. She shared this with me she's been running a very successful consulting for 10 years, and she had a large lingerie company that she ran for multiple years. But she said they always come back. Failed launches, empty promises. They get to people that they say they're nationwide and they're not, and they can't go open up doors. And so she's patient. And
Right.
I love that in her. So talk
That's
about, so
fantastic.
the experiences, the retain, so by having those experiences, you retain customers, kind of wrapping up, because I know we were late, but I want to be respectful of your time because you probably have a firm calendar here. But
It's a Saturday, not as firm as during the
okay.
week, so
Okay.
you're
So
fine.
everybody, you can call Vance on Saturdays between 9 and 10. That's about the only time you can call him. No, anyway, but I do want to be respectful of everybody's
No, you're
time
fine.
here. And I apologize to everybody that, we're not on LinkedIn this morning. I did put a link to join us here on this podcast, and I will put it out there today, Vance, in real time, and I'll give you access as well. But I just want to give you the floor to maybe some things that you want to, leave people with about the experiences and the retention, a little bit about yourself maybe, and anything else you want to share.
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, the experiences, they don't have to cost you anything. You know what I mean? So, you don't have to be a Disney. I mean, when I talked about that whole walking in the front door story, what did that cost me? Really? Nothing. I mean, it was just, here's how I want you to do it. Go do it that way. And then, okay, the gift cost me less than $5 for that gift. So, I mean, you don't have to get it out of your brain that, oh my God, I need a big budget to wow my customers. No, you don't. You just need to give it some thought. And then you also don't think that, oh my God, oh, he's doing this. How am I ever going to get there? Think about it. It took me probably close to 18 months, 24 months to get that full sequence in place, because we would start with one thing. It was like the whole parking thing, where do we park, in the driveway or in the street? And that just kind of started it. I said, no, we're not parking in the driveway. We're parking in the street because I don't want to have to clean something. And then, we would think about it and we're like, all right, well, what else can we do? Oh, we should really, we're a cleaning company. We probably shouldn't track any dirt in. Let's get mats, right? So we got mats. And then, a few months later, I think I was at like a trade show or something, and there was a booty company, and they were making custom booties. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Let's get those. And so that whole process that I explained took months, if not years, to get it to where it is today. So don't feel like you got to be overwhelmed about creating these experiences. Just take one little simple thing, something that's going to give you the most bang for the buck, and implement that. And then a couple months later, revisit it, and how can you have another iteration of it? How can you plus it? How can you make it a little better? And you can continue to do that, and pretty soon you're going to have a pretty awesome operation.
I love that. That's the Kaizen philosophy, right? Just simple steps, and over time, the course of time, you're going to have, you're going to be a result of these things that are sustainable in your business. And it was game changing for me to read that book. And I try to practice a little bit of it because we do get overwhelmed, right? It's like you don't have to do everything, from the get go. Just do one thing, get that one thing down really well, then take the next thing and do that. That's brilliant. Um, so how does one actually go ahead? So go ahead. Sorry. How does one find you? So can you put maybe in the chat or How did
Yeah,
they find
sure.
you for your service?
I mean, my website is probably the best. If I can type deliverservicenow.com.
There you go.
There's some great free downloads on there. Enough stuff on there to get you started. Actually, I just did a new one. I just did this 52 ways to wow your customer without breaking the bank, which is a pretty good one because it gives you one way to wow every week of the year.
And you, a service company, a brand, anybody can use those
Anybody,
things.
e-commerce, you got service, you got a product, I mean, an attorney could use it, a trash collector could use it, doesn't matter. So
That's amazing. And then how does one get on the Disney trip? Is that like a waiting line to actually get into the trip?
no, typically, I mean, if you've got interest, certainly, feel free to shoot me an email. I typically do them with a group leader. So somebody who, can gather the people together. And then we do a revenue share on it. And so
Okay,
opportunity for you to make a couple of pennies or shekels or whatever you want to call it.
interesting.
Um, but I haven't done one of my own in a couple of years. Because I fill them up with my clients come to me and say, yeah, I want to bring it.
What's the minimum? How many clients do you usually take for the experience?
Well, like I said, it's one client and they'll bring their group. So like I have a coach to attorneys. He's a business coach for attorneys. And he's got a lot. I mean, his coaching group's enormous, and we took 35 of his attorneys on the Disney trip. It's like groups like that. So I mean, we've done individual companies before, but it's usually a group from the same industry that gets together.
That's
But
interesting. There's probably some groups I can connect you with, by the way, that probably use a service. I'm actually one of them is going to come on this podcast. It's a law firm out of LA. They have a group of 50 attorneys. But I'm
okay.
also thinking about Bev Assets and our clients that possibly we could work together where we're a retained agency. We actually ask our client founders to actually come with us to Disney, that we could do something, right? So let's explore. I actually want to explore that. So we have a handful of clients that we represent. Alicia and I, we'd love to have them experience this with you, Vance. And it would be really, I think, what I've learned this morning has been one is time is we only have so much time. We all have the same time, and you got to be relentless how you manage it. Two is the experience and what people have when they arrive at your door. That's everything. Because if they have a great experience, it's price, actually your price elasticity is not an issue, right? You're going to actually be able to command more for your service or your brand, right? So everything comes down to experiences. And I guess the final thing for me, just learning from you, is you can do multiple things if you manage your time appropriately. And you also can have a successful business if you just step back and really simplify and pick that one thing, right? That one thing, and do that one thing really well. And then once you get that mastered, move on to the next thing and do that really well. So I believe this, Vance, and I'll let you close it down. But I met you for a reason. One is I was completely discombobulated this morning with LinkedIn going down, computer blew up. But I really do appreciate your patience with me and everybody that's watching this. And I apologize for all those that join us on LinkedIn Live. It's just, we're live, raw, and real. So we just got to go with it. So I appreciate your patience and everybody else's.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Like I said, I know stuff goes wrong, so just roll with it.
Yeah, you got to roll with it, and that's part of running a business, right? So there's things that are going to go wrong, but I think the key is just to keep on moving forward, right? Well, thank you so much, Vance, and everybody for joining. I'm actually going to include a few things from Vance in the actual podcast that I'll grab from him this morning, and then all his links and contact information. And it seems like it's easy to find you. You can book time with him, and he'll make himself available. But thank you, everybody, today.
Thank you.